Hello guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to this new video. Now right off the bat you may notice two major differences in this video compared to the last videos I've published. The first and foremost, I have decided to start using voice commentary instead of the normal text one. So we'll see where that leads us and how it will go in the future. You'll have to excuse me if I may stutter a bit or have some pauses, because this is all very new to me. But the second major change you'll see is that we're actually not playing War Thunder today. Today we are playing DCS World. This is the digital combat simulator and it's been out since 2008, and the goal of this video is to explain to you why it might be attractive to you as a War Thunder player. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the first major difference between War Thunder and DCS is the development style of the games. Now, I will be concentrating on the flight simulator part of both games and try to explain their major differences. So let's go with development first. While War Thunder has over the years shown a quantity over quality approach, which means that they are more concentrated on putting out new planes and tanks than making the already existing planes and tanks, as historically accurate as possible. The DCS developers take a different approach when developing their modules. Basically, the DCS will always take the quality over quantity approach because it wants to make the most realistic simulator there is. So every module you get in DCS will be extremely realistic, and while the War Thunder models will be quite half-baked and questionable, the DCS ones will always be, on par with how the real planes performed, as much as it is possible, of course, given that those planes flew years and years ago. Now, you may have heard me state that the DCS developers, not the developers, care about, the quality. This is because there is no single developer for DCS. In DCS you can yourself become a developer. DCS is actually a platform for multiple developers to put out their modules on. So for example, the Eagle Dynamics creates the engine and the graphics and the physics, and all other devs make modules based on the package they get from Eagle Dynamics. So that means that a single developer has much more time to work on their own module and to improve it to perfection. Now, the development time for each module is also huge. For example, each plane in DCS takes more time to create than the whole game of War Thunder, and this fact is just astonishing, the level of detail the developers in this game are trying to put into their work. And that's it about the development. Now, what I would like to discuss next is the gameplay differences. So of course, DCS is a serious flight combat simulator. You will not have the same options as in War Thunder. You cannot expect to use mouse aim, for example, or to get away with some maneuvers or UFO shit as you are able to do in War Thunder. Each plane takes a lot of time to get used to and to master completely. Also, with DCS you have to understand that the goal of the games was initially different. DCS was in the start meant as an upgrade over the Flaming Cliffs 2 module for lock-on combat, and this basically was a very old game, but the planes that entered the DCS first were the planes of the lock-on series. So for example, that's the F-15, the Su-27, the MiG-29, etc. And those planes have nothing in common with, the War Thunder ones. You have to understand that most of the community in DCS plays on the more modern platforms, but there's also a lot of World War II servers, you know. Next up, you have to understand that for this game you have to use a joystick. You cannot get away with using mouse and keyboard because it will ruin your experience. You get a lot better experience when playing with the joystick. And also you have to be aware that the learning curve for each aircraft is much larger than learning, for example, how to fly in War Thunder simulator battles. The systems are much more complicated. You have to understand, you know, the quirks of each aircraft and so on to be very effective with it. But to get started in an aircraft, you know, you just need a few hours to learn how to take off and land, and then you can fly and perfect your combat skills. Now with this Mustang down, we're just gonna watch him explode, and then we'll switch to the third person view in DCS, which was albeit recorded in the track file, but it should give you a very good idea about how the flight model of the FW-190D in this game is very different from the FW-190D in War Thunder. So I hope you enjoyed the second part of the video while we continue to discuss other differences between DCS and War Thunder. Now the last set of differences I want to discuss is the flight model and damage model differences. Those are of course to be expected to be had in such a game, but I'll go more in depth. So the flight models, as we already discussed, are much better in DCS than in War Thunder, simply because each flight model gets way more development time than the flight models do in War Thunder. This can be, you know, seen in a couple of ways. If you look at the video right now, you'll see that the Dora is flying at like 300 kilometers per hour, and it can really turn fast. And this is because the DCS developers look at the broader picture when developing their flight models. They don't just go and look at the facts like, okay, this plane has a lower wing loading, so it should of course turn better. It doesn't work like that in DCS. You also have to you know, calculate all the forces that work on an aircraft in a certain moment, and you have to basically predict how the aircraft will be moving and so on. So the end result you get from all this is that every aircraft, and I do mean every aircraft, plays like its own beast. And I can really say that because I have quite a few modules installed for DCS. I have the FC3 module, I have the TF51D you get as a starter, I've got the MiG-21 BIS, I've got the Focke-Wulf 190, and I've got the Huey UH-1H, which is a helicopter, and I find that plane really fun to fly for some reason, I don't know why. Anyway, so what you get is that every plane feels differently, and you have to learn how to fly every plane individually, which is very fun to do actually, way more fun than you may think it is. And to best illustrate how realistic DCS is, I'm gonna tell you a real life anecdote of an event I had recently. So me and my friend, my clan leader Martina, we were going to the basically to celebrate the existence of the Croatian Armed Forces for, you know, what's it been, from 1991 basically. And they had this big parade near my building, so I went and talked to the pilot. And they had this stand where they had the simulator for the MiG-21 BIS, and it was actually DCS. So first I had my own share of laugh, and then I came to the pilot and asked him about the simulator and how realistic it was. And he said that when he first saw it, he was very surprised at the realism that DCS had with the MiG-21, and that it's basically the best experience you'll get within a regular price range, which means like $30 to $50. Of course, you can get the DCS modules on sales, and then it will cost like 50% less, but that's a story for another time. Now, I think this will illustrate very well how the flight models differ in the game. And now let's go to the damage models. War Thunder and DCS share a lot of common things when it comes to damage modeling by external damage models. That means the parts of the planes that are not you know, directly linked to electronics and stuff like that. But where DCS shines is actually the internal damage modeling, as you'll see right now. So I killed a Mustang here and his wing falls off, and at first I thought that the part of his plane hit me in the prop and that my plane was damaged now, but we'll see that it's not quite, you know, that. So after we see that, I'm just gonna quit the video, so I'll just bid you farewell right now while those pieces of the Mustang are flying down, which looks just amazing. And last thing I want to say is that I will actually be doing the same kind of video for IL-2 Sturmovik, both the Cliffs of Dover and the Battle of Stalingrad, so you get the idea about which simulator you want to buy, if you want to buy it. But I think it will be interesting for you guys to see this. And doesn't this door just look amazing? So anyway, this is the post, you know, battle scene, battle scoreboard, and you can see the hits here. And you can see that I actually hit myself, but it was not the enemy plane that hit me, it was my own Minengeschoss shell. So I thought you guys would find it funny, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and peace. We'll see you in the next one.